Hey guys, Brendan here. Today I thought I'd talk about a comment that I got on my last video in regard to artificial intelligence. This man was very passionate, or at least I'm assuming it's a man, I'm sorry. They are very negative about AI, saying that we've been living with AI for at least 5 years now, and it's barely contributed anything to humanity, like what some of the claims out there say it will do for humanity. And yeah, he's right to an extent, and that kind of goes back to the artificial intelligence bubble. You know, every bubble happens because there's a lot of euphoria, and where money starts to enter the market, a lot of money, and then that props up asset prices, and then that attracts even more money and continues to prop up prices. Even though the technologies behind these bubbles are not quite there yet. The infrastructure isn't fully built out everywhere, and there is still much progress to be made in these sectors and these fields of technology. And that's the same thing with the artificial intelligence bubble. Like, you know, there could be very developed AGI models that have been around for decades on a small scale, but in order to make it to the large scale, that's going to take time. That's going to take years, if not decades. Probably years with, say, AI, because it's a technology that can progress a lot faster than previous technologies, but still it's going to take time. And then another concern of his is, well, what does AI bring to the table in terms of value? And I would say AI brings a lot to the table in regard to speeding up manufacturing methods and also changing manufacturing methods. Like an example of that is, say you design a rotor for a car. AI can simulate what stress points are needed for a rotor and what amount of material can be taken out of that rotor. So you can save a lot of material and just keep the necessary material inside of a product to be developed because it's necessary for the structural integrity of said item. Another is trying to sorry, buddy is waving at me. Another one is I'm cheesing. Another field that AI can help out with is with drug discovery. And so what it can do is take a lot of the information from previous clinical trials and experimentation on certain substances, and then also cell types, and compile that into these simulations where it's able to pick and choose certain variables that are projected to be successful, and then also take out variables that are not successful. And that kind of speeds up the time to bring drugs to market, which is incredibly beneficial because this could take years, if not decades, to develop a impactful drug, and cut that dramatically short by years, if not months. And then also an example of AI being helpful is through coding. I'm not an expert in coding, or really an expert in a lot, but my understanding is there are flaws in code, and AI is very useful in determining where these flaws are and correcting them. And that also shaves off the time because sometimes these errors aren't picked up for years, whereas AI can pick it up in seconds or minutes or hours. And then another one of his concerns is what is the value of something if it's easily mass-produced and for cheap, in regard to AI being incorporated into manufacturing processes. which is a very valid point. And if we do get to that point, which we likely will at some point in the future, we'll have to dramatically rethink our societies. And so who's to say capitalism will be around by then? But in the meantime, even if we achieved AGI tomorrow and everyone just stopped working, everything would still collapse in the economy. Like AI at the early stages will definitely be useful in bringing society to a point where we start to bring these new technologies and these new products onto the market, and it makes them incredibly abundant and cheap, but it will still require humans to do so. So when the World Economic Forum, for example, when they gather at their meetings every year in Davos, they talk about a new form of capitalism referred to as stakeholder capitalism. And so by putting stakeholders in front of shareholders in terms of priority, it definitely will come with a lot of benefits for the global economy and society in general. And also the environmental impact of capitalism. But of course, we are not at that point yet, and we will reach that point when we get there. But what I'm really trying to say here is capitalism will still be needed for this shift in the global economic structure that's going to be brought about in the coming years to decades. As long as people are involved with the global economy and society, there will always be some sort of capitalism, unless products and services are made essentially free and contain no value in the future. And you know, that's a bridge we'll have to cross when we get there. This person also points out that he doesn't understand how AI is a threat when older technologies are still around, even though newer technologies have been introduced and have been incorporated more into the global economy. And that's very fair. One of his examples is horses are still around, even though cars have largely replaced them. And that's fair. And same with books still being around, even though we now have computers. And yes, that's absolutely true. These like older technologies and us, we will still be around, even with the introduction and mass adoption of AI when it does happen, because it's a genie that's out of the bottle. It's going to happen whether we like it to or not. But it's a threat in terms of the economy, because it's supposed to continue to go up and up and up and up, because that's just how it's structured. Like, for example, with the fiat monetary system, like, you don't see a whole lot of deflationary events happen because central banks and central governments step in to prevent those deflationary crashes. And so if entry-level jobs start to be replaced, or even just basic jobs in the economy are eventually replaced with AI and automation, well, a lot of people that had those jobs, they're very levered up, because our economy, global economy, is extremely levered right now. All of them are levered up, and if they lose their jobs and UBI is not introduced, people will start to default on their loans, and they just won't be paying back their debts. And then at that point, you start to see massive issues in financial markets, and then there is a real threat of a financial collapse because of the fiat monetary system. Like, there's no longer a backing to our money like what we did have with gold. Now we have trust that backs our monetary system. And so if there's no trust behind the monetary system, then well, everything starts to come crashing down. And it's also a threat to society because even though people may hate their jobs or they love their jobs, jobs at the end of the day are still purpose for human beings, and people need purpose. They need to go to work every day. They need to do something. They need to not waste their days away, smoke weed, get drunk during the day, just lounge around, do nothing, because then they start to waste away. Then they start to rot from the inside out. And so AI is a threat to humanity in the sense that people will start to lose purpose, and then there's just no progress for them. And so with AI replacing jobs, people will start to question their identities and why they're here. So that is a very damaging thing that AI could bring about in the coming years. Now, that being said, AI will definitely do a lot in terms of freeing up people's time, because as the years go by, the decades go by, like life, even though people consider nowadays to be like dreadful in terms of the economy, prices, we still live in amazing times, some of the best times throughout all of human history. Like, if you were to ask me, would I rather live in medieval Europe or today in Canada, in the States, I would say absolutely today. Like, even though we have a lot of comforts in society and those comforts are creating a lot of unintended consequences, it is still some of the best quality of life we have ever had. Like, there was a time when there was no plumbing, there was no hot water, there was no central heating. And all of that has been made possible through capitalism. And capitalism is the best system for driving innovation. So if we continue this rise in the quality of life for people going forward, and we allocate all this work that needs to be done to AI, what it does, it frees up a lot of time for people to spend more time with their families, their friends, be in communities, and that would probably be one of the best things for us right now because of how divided so many people are, and also just how we're in a loneliness epidemic, really, where people are more willing to just stay at home than actually go out and experience life and meet and talk to people. And that's a real threat right now to society, is just the lack of connection, and also just the lack of time for establishing that connection. So AI would absolutely help in that aspect, but it would definitely come with its drawback of taking away people's purpose. And they also ask, if AI is so effective when it comes to, say, video generation, why haven't we seen AI take the jobs of people in Hollywood? And I would say, yeah, that's actually happening right now. Like, there was a bunch of strikes, writers' strikes and actors' strikes the last few years in Hollywood, because they were a lot of these people in those industries were complaining they weren't making enough money, and also that they didn't want to be replaced by AI. And so by doing that, they actually shot themselves in the foot, because now a lot of people are losing their jobs in that industry. One, because a lot of the stuff they've been rolling out has been just awful, and so people are just not going to the theaters and paying money for it to watch these movies. And so because of that, money's not really coming in, and also these actors and writers and whoever else, they're being replaced by AI because it's starting to be a cheaper alternative than having to deal with paying for higher wages. An example of that is, like, we're now starting to see a lot of commercials that are just generated by AI. And they're not really good, at least not right now, but as the years go by, we all see it online. All these videos, these AI slot videos that are coming out, they're actually getting quite good and getting quite realistic and getting quite unnoticeable that there is no real imagery behind behind these clips in these videos. So yeah, there could come a time where we see the death of the celebrity and rise of just AI video creation for all of videos and TV shows and commercials and everything else. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that that's where we're headed. Like, I'm not a fan of it, but some people would think differently. And then, yeah, I guess I'd like to wrap up this video by saying there is good and there's bad with the adoption of AI. And that's the case with every technology that's ever been introduced. You know, there's always a disruption. Old sectors and old jobs are terminated and new ones are created. However, with AI, it brings about probably the largest shift we'll ever see for a technology. And so a lot of people will for sure be displaced if AGI is introduced and it becomes available at a large scale. And people will have to find ways to find purpose in their lives, because if all these entry-level jobs are replaced, or even my job is replaced, like I'm an electrician, and I could see my job being replaced at some point in the future with both automation, robotics, and AI, but it's still years away. It's still possibly decades away from me, whereas, like, say it's just years away for an accountant. So yes, this is most likely a part of the Great Reset, is that people will be displaced in the workforce and be replaced by automation and AI, and that it could be good, it could be bad. We won't really know till we find out. But if you look at the trend of all of human history, the mass adoption of new technologies actually has improved our quality of lives. And yeah, it'll be a battle for sure. People will not be happy with this, and you know, some people will be. It's very subjective. So yeah, we will see what happens, and it'll probably result in something great, maybe a utopia in the future, which I'm doubtful, but hey, it's great to be optimistic. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you liked anything I said in this video, like this video, leave me a comment down below what you think about mass adoption of AI and what it will create for society in the future. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. I will see you guys in the next one.